What's going on, everyone? This is Tyler with Crystal Beast TCG. And if you have not seen the recent events that have been occurring within the Pokemon industry and with the big box stores, limits have started to get put on different items. If you've gone to Target at all in the last few months, you know that you can only buy 2 of certain items. And if you've ever tried to buy more than 2, the point of sale system will actually stop you from purchasing more than 2 of that particular item. So you can only do 2 of one particular Pokemon card item at a time. The only way around that is by doing multiple purchases, which is an annoyance if you have the access to do it. But otherwise, the associates will actually stop you from being able to do anything more or purchasing any more. Best Buy as well, they've had limits on things. They also impose limits themselves as to what they want. I would say the same thing happens for Target, but Target doesn't care as much with how much product they get. But I've noticed that Best Buy will limit it based off of how they're feeling and how much they have received that particular day or for that particular shipment. But then Walmart actually was one of the ones that had just 0 limit on anything. The only limits they had were online. And at best, they would have 12 for that limit. They could have up to 99 as the limit for a lot of the times if you're trying to do any online drops. But now they've actually recently set up the limits. So starting on November 5th, which is today, that they can purchase a maximum of 5 packs or boxes of trading cards per visit per the policy. And then also the point of sale systems and online purchases have been updated to automatically limit those. So they're following along in Target's footsteps, but they're giving it a limit of 5 versus the limit of 2. No one knows why. That's just the decision they made for that particular limit versus the 5 versus the 2. But they're introducing this change because they're wanting to make sure that fans and collectors have the opportunity to purchase these items. If you had not seen the most recent backlash that occurred, for a Walmart associate or Walmart manager who allowed an individual to buy a whole pallet of the Mega Hero tins. And so that obviously gave Walmart a huge amount of backlash publicly in the actual storefront eyes versus the online. They have not really cared about the online perspective, I would say, but I think that storefront perspective really hit them hard. So now they're limiting it online and in stores. So definitely an interesting move on their part, though. I mean, not unexpected. And they're following the footsteps of everyone else, of all the other big stores. So that was a fun one to see yesterday. They announced that. But then this morning at 3 a.m., I got an email from another major player when it comes to getting Pokemon cards. And if you have one of these stores around you, you're familiar with it, you probably go to these stores. They're not around a lot of places, and you also don't always expect them to have Pokemon cards, but the people who are shopping for Pokemon cards know that they have them there, and they will go there to get as much as they possibly can. And that store is actually Barnes & Noble. So Barnes & Noble is I have one local to me. Yeah, and I shop there for Pokemon cards quite often. They're usually one of the few that actually gets good Pokemon cards and good stuff and good products. But Barnes & Noble actually has a premium membership that gets you 10% off any item in the store. And that, I don't know the actual cost of that. I think it's like $50 or $60 annually. So you get 10% off any item in the store. And then on top of that, you get points that will give you dollars off your next purchases. So double rewards for that premium. And there's a no cost one where you just get the points with no percentages off. And so I am a premium member at Barnes & Noble. I did this many months back. When I bought the Prismatic Ultra Premium collections, I was able to buy 2 of them, and the percentage off just made sense because it pretty much paid for the whole membership for the whole year, since I knew I was going to be going to Barnes & Noble for a lot of other Pokemon purchases. I figured might as well get that membership while I'm at it. But I received this morning at 3 a.m. And there's a few things I want to note in this, but let's go ahead and just read through it. So, dear blank, you are receiving this message as you have previously purchased collectible trading cards or trading card games either in a Barnes & Noble store or on barnesandnoble.com. We are writing to inform you of a change to the membership terms and conditions related to these products. Effective November 5th, an interesting date, following along with Walmart. Collectible trading cards and trading card games, including but not limited to Pokemon TCG, Magic the Gathering, Disney Lorcana, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, and sports trading cards will no longer be eligible for the 10% everyday member discount. For premium and rewards members, purchases of these items continue to be eligible for stamps, and rewards can be applied to these items. We have made this decision due to the margin available to us on these products. Click here to review those terms and conditions. Thank you for being a Barnes & Noble member. So a few things I want to note there, as I mentioned, the November 5th date. That date was the date that same date as Walmart. So they are pretty much following suit immediately or right next to Walmart on the date. Was that a targeted date? I think so. I think with Phantasmal Flames coming out next week, they know the potential that could be hitting, and that's maybe just my Pokemon brain, but it is affecting all trading cards. And anytime I go to my Barnes & Noble, I always see Magic, or most of the time Magic, Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh! And sports cards are always there. Pokemon's usually always sold out. So is it necessarily Pokemon? Yeah, I'd say so. And then the knowledge that Phantasmal Flames comes out next week does provide an uptick in individuals going into the stores to purchase these cards. So they don't want to continue to give the 5 or 10% off to their premium members for this. But some other interesting things to note, and which I think comes to the haste of the decision, which is, simple personalization in an email. It's not hard for any company to do it. Sure, does it get missed at times, but they missed the deer anyway. Like, my name's in their system. I'm not a blank in their system. So why is my name not posted in here? Just my first name on there. So I think this was a hasty decision that they may have missed out on adding in some type of personalization to address their premium members. So this was not in my opinion, this was not a decision they've been thinking about for a very long period of time and did it. I think they pulled the trigger for this date based off of, honestly, Walmart's decision to do it on the same date of November 5th. So that's my thought process with it for how quick they made this decision. This wasn't fast, or this wasn't a slow rolling decision. They pulled the trigger pretty fast on this. And then another thing with it too is the 10% off everyday membership. Like, we got 10% off all of our products. So tax is 7 to 8%, depending on your location. So you're getting the tax off, and then you're also getting a little bit off on top of that. And so that was really nice for anyone who's buying from Barnes & Noble that had the premium membership. Now, Barnes & Noble has been limiting their sales for Pokemon to 2 per person. Sometimes it's 2 per item, sometimes per SKU, I should say. Sometimes it's just 2 per the set, the type, so 2 Pokemon items in general. It all depends on the day, depends on the person who's working at the register, but they do have a 2 per item, at least a 2 per SKU requirement or minimum or maximum that they allow you to purchase at a time. So I think that's they've always been doing that. They've always followed suit with that with the other big box stores, but they're now taking away this 10% membership that you get with being a premium. So I honestly think this is going to hurt them a bit. And their pricing on all of their cards has always been MSRP. It's never been a higher number. I know MSRP is such a random number to anyone, or doesn't really have much value when it comes to what people are, what they expect it to be or what it can be. But they've always been the lowest price. They've always been that standard MSRP that you would expect on the card purchases. Maybe that's due to contracts that they have with their distributors, which Excel, I believe, is the distributor for them. But they have always had that MSRP pricing, and now if you look at Target, if you look at GameStop, those prices have been increasing slowly over the last few months. And to be honest, like, if Barnes & Noble was to actually increase their pricing on their cards by 10%, no one would really bat an eye at that. And that's where the last sentence in there is: we've made this decision due to the margin available to us on these products. So from that particular sentence, it tells me that is the distributors increasing pricing on them, and are they maybe only getting 2, 3, 4% on the items themselves. Now they are a big box store, in my opinion, so like small percentages aren't a big deal for them because they do it based off of volume versus the particular item itself, or like one particular sale. Though, could they be losing? Could they have been losing money for the longest time on this, because the distributors have raised prices on them, which would be an interesting take to kind of back up all the other LGSs and any other store owners who have seen this, who have also reported and seen this particular increase in distribution pricing. So that may be it, but also I think they're going to get a lot of backlash from this. I think they're going to have a lot of premium members drop this for the free version, because the free version still gets you these stamps and rewards to be applied to items. So there's no reason to have premium anymore if you're not getting that 10% off. So even if they raise their premium costs, that could have been another solution to them, but they're going to get a bit of backlash, and people are going to likely drop their premium membership when their year membership comes up. So interesting decision on their part. But I would say Barnes & Noble is definitely not a no-name company when it comes to Pokemon sales. They're one of the main ones that people see coming up as people going in and getting cards from them. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think this was a smart decision by Barnes & Noble? Do you think that they're going to probably topple with this decision and probably lose a ton of their memberships and get a lot of backlash for it? But I don't know. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. And obviously, we have the Walmart decision that went through with the Walmart Plus. Then you have Targets and Barnes and Best Buy. Like the Pokemon and Magic hype right now is causing these big stores to have to make decisions, and that's crazy in my opinion. That one company and or one product line and or two product lines is causing these decisions to have to be made. It's interesting. So let me know your thoughts, and with that, I hope you all have a great day.